guess.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, well,
Yeah, that's quite a hill.
yeah.
Yeah, I bet that can be fun with a little ice on it, especially for
Oh,
people
he
that.
told me one time, I said, I kept going, he said, if you're gonna do that, get out and walk, and I did.
Oh.
Juliana Silicki, she brought her mom down this one time, and Juliana said she yelled from the top of the hill down. She didn't like the hill, she was scared. Poor Nilla, God love her, Juliana was a lot more understanding, I think, than the way it was. But he just said, if you're gonna do that, you just get out and walk. And I just opened the door and did my thing.
Really?
We've definitely been off the hill in the sides many times.
I bet, yeah.
So
Well, one thing I did, well, actually, when at the church, I geared down a little bit, and then I geared down again coming on your road. I thought, nah, this looks like a gear down a little bit and just need the power. You don't need the speed. So,
Right.
That's right.
yeah, I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you sled on the hill?
yeah, yeah.
Let me tell you now, we had a friend that lived down on the ridge, and they made him take out flood insurance. And he said, lady, let me tell you. He said, if I get bothered with the flood, he says, all of Lamoille is going to be underwater. And he was so mad that they made him buy flood insurance.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the creek does come up, and it has that. Remember the winter that, or the summer, I should spring we had, when we had all the rain, and the Moyle Canyon had all the mudslides.
Yeah.
It washed out 4 foot of our road right here in front of the house,
Wow.
up above Pete's cabin, and right out here at the corner, it washed out about 2 foot of our road.
Mm.
And I want to tell you, I did not realize until that time the strength of the water.
Mm.
I did not realize it was that. I knew that in the creek, the horses couldn't ford it when it was high, but it was out here, and there was a 12-foot tie that was over close to the creek, but I can't remember what was in the way. And it was just there, but that thing was a moving, and Pete went up a ways and got across, and he picked up that, he just lifted it up and put it on his shoulder and carried it out. But that thing, well, you know, the ties are so big, and
They
that
are.
thing just acted like a splinter.
Yeah, like a toothpick.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like a toothpick. Yeah.
Wow.
But I'll tell you that, it took 16 loads of rock, and I mean rock, out of the dump truck, and I can't remember how much it hauled. And then I don't know how many loads of gravel on top of that to fill our road back in again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty scary and
Yeah.
powerful. It's
Yeah.
scary as it really
Yeah.
is, can be. Yeah.
It pulled in one of the lambs. The wool got wet and it pulled it in,
yeah.
and that lamb kept going down. And there's a fence across at the corrals that has the lamb got caught in it, and Dad was able to rope it, and we pulled it in, but it had no chance whatsoever
No.
if we
Yeah.
hadn't been right there.
Well,
Yeah.
Raymond always said that, you know, the sheep will drown fast
Oh, yeah.
in water because it
Yeah,
weighs them
they
down,
just-
it just
yeah.
pulls them down.
Yeah.
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 Even with all that lanolin in that wool,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
still pulls them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So.
Yeah.
You know, there's one other story I like to tell about Dewey when I carried Pete. Pete was a kicker from the minute he was started, and I could you know be reading the magazine or something, and he'd be a kicking that, and in the middle of the night, Dewey would say to me, "Mom, will you turn over so I can get some sleep?" Finally, he was happy when I had that kid.
Oh, I bet. So whose idea was it to name everybody with the same letter, or did it
Well,
just?
it happened. I wanted to name Peggy Judita Alice after my mother and his mother. My mother was Alice Marguerite, and his mom was Judita. And he said, "You're not going to make any of my kids go through life with a hard name to say." You know, so anyhow I said, "Well, what do you like?" He said, "Oh, Susie or Sally." And I said, "Well, I had a doll that I called Peggy." And so he said, "That's fine." So we named her Peggy Alice. Okay. Pete came along. Well, his dad's name was Pete. Dwyer's dad, his name was Pete. I had a daddy Pete. That was my step-grandfather, and we called him Daddy Pete. And then my dad's middle name was Douglas. I had a nephew, Douglas. My brother Ralph's name was Douglas. And so we just named him Pete Douglas. So we were in the groove, and we just kept going.
Just kept
so
going.
We had Paul, and the one thing we did wrong was that we named him Paul DeWillo. So they had PDB and PDB. Paul DeWillo Bottari and Pete Douglas Bottari.
Okay.
So that was a hard situation with initials.
Yeah.
But you never stopped to think.
Yeah.
So, and then Perry came along, and I had a brother, Perry. So I went to the hospital on the first day of October to have him, and it was a bull sale was on it in that elbow. Well, I had false labor, and he didn't come that day, but it was my brother Bill's birthday. So anyhow, that's where the William came, Perry William. But the next morning, Pete and Dwayne and I were sawing wood out here. You know, they let me out of the hospital, and I was throwing the wood away when the neighbor came, and he said, "I thought you were having a baby." And I said, "Well, he didn't want to come, so I'm out there throwing wood away." Janu Baroni, Jeannie Puccinelli's father, told me, 10 days, you go back and have the baby. 10 days later, I went back and had him on the 10th of October.
Wow.
Yep. I had to cook dinner for him. They won and I lost. I didn't mind a bit. Anyhow, he ended up being Perry to Williams, so. Yeah, it's been a good life.
Yeah, it sure has.
Yeah.
A busy one for sure.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot, I should have told you about me washing diapers in the creek. When the kids were little, we didn't have running water. So the only place I had to wash them was in the creek. And so I was out there washing and my hands were all red and this and that. And at that time it was Sarah Gregory, Marshall Fox, Marshall Hess, and Shirley Westland. No, it wasn't Westland, it was Nicholson. That was her maiden name, Shirley. They came down to visit, and I'm in the creek washing dirty diapers. And so anyhow, they kept saying, "I'm not having any kids." I'm not having any kids. So they all have kids. But anyhow.
Did they all have to wash their diapers in the creek?
No.
I don't think so. They were probably beyond that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Marshall was very, very busy lady. She had her kids when they were little. She would hold them and she'd have a pot. And by gosh, they'd do their job. And it wasn't long. They were a year old and they were trained.
Wow.
I don't know if all of them were, but Timmy and Tommy and Timmy and Kathy were her kids. They ended up having 4. And of course, Shirley Nicholson or Westland, she only had the 2, and then they adopted the son. Yeah. And I don't remember how many Sarah had. I think she had quite a few too. But she married Gregory. No, Sarah Gregory.
Yeah.
I can't remember who she married, but maybe I'm having the first name wrong. That's been a long time ago. And I can't.
lots of hard work.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah, it was different.
Yeah.
It was a different life, but a good life.
Hmm.
That we appreciate that they taught us a good work ethic, because when we got into jobs and we would work like crazy, then people would appreciate us.
Mhm.
And every one of my brothers and
Well, your
sister and
dad's the
myself.
one that taught you
Boy.
that. I'd
Yeah.
rather teach you how to have some fun.
Yeah.
Well, no, you taught us. We watched and saw an
Well,
example.
yeah, you were an example, you
Yeah.
know, you did what had to be done, and that's the truth,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is being lost even as we speak.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
it's sad.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Very
Yeah,
sad.
for sure, yeah. But, so, let's see, you got any more?
So who manages the ranch now?
Well, I'm here.
You're
But
here. You're
Josh
still
will-
boss lady.
Yeah, Josh, I yell once in a while, yeah, I do. But Paul is really the one that takes the responsibility, or we yell at each other. Anyhow, it's a hard thing because Pete took over when Dad got Alzheimer's, and he just managed it all so long, you know. Pete gave his life to this ranch, and how do I say it? It's hard to fill that pair of shoes, because he would check this and he would check that, and maybe he did it just glancing and stuff, or he might just take and go out of his way for a minute and check something, and we never knew all what he did. We really didn't until he was gone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and I imagine the business has changed a lot too.
Oh yes.
The equipment has changed,
Oh
and
yes.
how you have to do things.
Yeah.
So they used to have workhorses, and then eventually the workhorses went to tractors.
Right.
And in 1969, we got a four-wheel drive truck, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and stuff. So there's all kinds of changes.
Daddy turned in an insurance policy. He had some money coming from it. And the kids put in money from their 4-H projects. And that's how we got it. We couldn't afford it otherwise. And DeWilliam taught me many lessons, because, you know, at that time you bought things on time. Well, you didn't after you married this man, because you paid for, if you could afford it, you got it. If you couldn't afford it, you didn't pay, you don't get it. But anyhow, we went down to Ely because we could get that pickup cheaper in Ely. And this gal here,
No, different truck, but
different
yes,
truck.
yeah, different truck.
Yeah,
Because I was,
that's right.
I was born
You
in
weren't-
61.
You weren't very old that time.
yeah, no, that when the Ford, the '69 Ford that was four-wheel drive was you got in town, I think.
I can't remember, but
Yeah.
I do know that Pete took it up the hill and got it stuck right through that first cattle guard. He buried it.
Oh,
He,
gosh.
you know, he just,
In the snow or
In
the
the
mud?
snow,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
in the snow.
How old was he?
Huh?
How old was he?
Well, he was born in 52.
And if you got it in '69.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my sister Peggy
Just the right
graduated in
age.
'69 and
Just the
stuff.
right
so
age
yeah,
for
Yeah.
he
Getting
was,
stuff,
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right, but he buried it, I'll tell you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the drifts right there get really big.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bet, yeah.
Really big.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Did it come out unscathed or did it have a dent in it?
no, it didn't have any dents in it, but he had to shovel it out, you know. He had to dig it out.
So how did you guys purchase, what was it you sold cows to purchase? Or was it a dryer or a washer or?
You had to have a washer. We sold 5 horses. And at
Oh,
that
wow.
time, we had chicken feed horses, you
Mhm.
know.
Yep.
And we sold 5, and that's, Paul Walters brought me out my first wash machine.
Wow.
Yep,
Good old Paul.
yep, and that was neat. And I had a water saver on it, and had the sink, and so she was little. I can't remember how old you were, but at that time, it would run over, and I'd get water all over the floor. So the floor was always clean. Not because I was that clean of a housekeeper, but because it was always running over. And so anyhow, Pam always had a clean floor.
So is this part of the original house or no? The original, but it's on the same spot.
Yes,
Okay.
this right here is the old house. It's over 100 years old.
Okay.
There's
4 rooms.
4
So
rooms. Well,
1, 2, 3, 4. That is the original house.
yeah.
Okay.
They built on the back, and then they built this room on. Then they built this dining room on, or it was a porch, but we made it a dining room. And then I said to Perry, I had 3 windows, that one and 2 other ones, full of bottles. I love bottles. Anyhow, I said to Perry, can you push them out and make bay windows? And he said, Mom, that's not going to give you enough room. And I said, well, do whatever you have to do to give me enough room. So he pushed it out 8 feet more.
Wow, nice.
So that's why we have such a big room here.
Mhm.
Do
But
you
we
still have your collection? Your bottle collection?
I've got them in that window, but I also have 2 boxes that came out of these windows when he did the carpentry on it. Okay, I want, and I have the back windows have all my canning jars, and I want to take some of those and put on a bottle tree, or else put them in I have a lot of milk cartons. If you turn them upside down and put them in the sun, then they have a chance of turning too, you know. So
Really?
anyhow, I have 2 boxes in the cellar that came out of those windows that I would like before I take my final ride, you know, and see them again. I have some.
Are these all bottles that you found over the years?
Oh my God, I love to bottle hunt.
Wow.
And I bottle hunted everywhere in the world. The first piece I found was right here in my backyard, and it's a double-eared jug, a little jug like such, purple, and it was all in one piece. I hope it's still out there in one piece. But then another, I have a really dark pint jar that the kids found up the hill, on the side of the hill, right in this back area here. And I have it in there. I have a bottle that DeWayo seen this thing shining on the mountain, and he kept working his way towards it, and he found an embossed whiskey bottle hiding by a brush, stuck in the brush. And he brought it home. Look what I found, Mom. And so I have it out there too. We went down, she was little at the time, and we went down to Patty Ryan, which we've just purchased the last 2 years, I think, now since we purchased it. I don't know just exactly when we purchased it. Anyhow, we did not take a shovel. We did not have anything to dig with. But we were walking around, and I lost my leg in a hole. It went through, and there was a old tale that Patty Ryan had not trusted the banks, and that he buried his money in Patty Ryan. And so anyhow, I came home. We loaded up, and we come home, and I said, "Daddy, Daddy, I found it. I found it." He says, "We'll go for 1 hour." I said, "Okay," but we got 9 bottles out of that hole, and there's one of them that we're going to give to Paul and Lori. They're having a house built. They bought 80 acres of it, and so it's on that area that we found those bottles, and it's a green bottle. It's in the back, in my medicine box. Anyhow, she likes bottles too, so when they get their house built, they've got their pole barn up, and all like that now, and just electrifying it and stuff. And anyone they get their house built, then I'm gonna give it to them.
Isn't that funny with all these old ranchers, the shop or the barn has to go up first?
Yes, always.
That's where all the money is.
Yeah.
It goes for there first. If there's
Yeah.
anything left over, why, yeah, I might get you a washer, or I might get you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you know, I did have a lesson that, old man Sestats, old Joe, he treated DeWilliam really good. He was kind of a cranky guy with the valley, but he always treated DeWilliam like a son. And when when this ground below us down here, where the corrals are now, and across from Pam's house, when that came on the market, he'd come down and he said, "You know, Skinny," they called him Skinny, "you know, Skinny, you're going to stay the ranching business. You better buy that ground." So then at the time, John and DeWilliam were into the ranch together, and so they did. They made arrangements, and we were able to buy the ranch. Well, the first year, now I came from the city, and my dad did all of the figuring and the buying and everything. I had no idea what interest was at all. We paid $405 that year, and when DeWilliam said it's $400 on interest and $5 on the principal, I thought, what? $400 on interest? He said, "Yeah, that's the way interest works." And I've never forgot it. I never forgot it.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you buy something, you only buy it if you can afford it. You
Yep.
pay cash for
Why give them the extra $400 for
it. Interest.
somebody else to enjoy?
Yeah.
Just for using their
That's
money for a
right.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's even worse now.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Jeez, yeah.
I don't know.
Huh.
It's been a different life, but it's been a good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's,
If I had the chance to do it over, I'd do it over. But I don't get that
of
kind of
course
chance.
you would, yeah.
But I'd have all my kids 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way they'd go into school and come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, because their first three were really close, but then 4 years between Perry and Paul, and then 3 years between
A
Perry
little
and
over
Mm.
4 years between Perry and
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah.
And 3.5 between you and Pete.
So do they all say that, yeah, Pam's just the spoiled little baby of the family,
And
yeah, you got everything, and
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, when she was little, he used to pack her everywhere.
Mm.
And I said to him, "Pete, one of these days, she's gonna wanna go, and you're not gonna wanna take her."
Mm.
And that's just what happened. She cried and cried because he wouldn't take her.
Mm.
I said, "I told you." But he used to just pack her down the creek and take her with him fishing, and she just loved it.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Another generation of spoiled
Yeah.
little girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And then I
You
spoiled
can't spoil
them
them
later.
with love. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't spoil
Yeah.
anybody with love.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, she was ornery little pill when she was little.
Oh,
Oh, I'll tell you, they were
we
playing
could talk all
Monopoly.
day and you're not gonna convince me of that. Come
Well,
on.
they were
Oh.
playing Monopoly, the other kids, and they were having a lot of fun. And you know how the little Monopoly figures that you play with?
Mhm.
She wanted one of them, and they wouldn't give her one. So she had a little tin bucket. She hit Pete in the head with it, took a little, and took off. So I said she was a little ornery pill.
Yeah, maybe occasionally.
You knew what you wanted, and you did what you had to get it, right?
Yeah. Mean and ornery.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same with Peggy. Peggy wasn't very big, but she would rule the kids, I'll tell you.
Mm.
She was 5 foot and a half inch.
And boy, you
Really?
didn't forget that half an inch.
This is big.
Mm.
I'll tell you. And if they talked us out one time to go out by ourselves on our anniversary.
Mm.
Well, when we came home, we found out that Paul was thrown on the floor by Pete, body slammed on the floor by Pete. She got the butcher knife out. and that stopped. Another time, Perry got smart, and she got the butcher knife out, and he went out in the snow in his shorts. She got an equalizer, to make up for
Yeah,
her size.
yeah.
There was snow about this deep out
Oh,
there
wow.
too, and he didn't have any shoes on.
But they
The lesser of
knew
two
that
evils,
Big
huh?
Sis was
Oh, yeah.
boss. Yeah,
Big little sis, huh?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We've been blessed. We've had I just thank the good Lord every night for the family that we were given, because they're all special
Yep,
people.
for sure, boy.
When Peggy was 4, she had rheumatoid arthritis. Tell us about that.
Oh, well, she would tell me, Mama, my legs feel funny, my hands feel funny, and I would rub them, and finally I took her in to see the doctor, and at that time, I can't say his name. His dad was a governor, and he was a doctor. At the time, that would be when Peggy was 4, so that would be 55.
Is it Secor? That doc?
What?
Is Dr. Secor?
No, he's a relative of mine.
Oh, not Hood, not Delgady's, not Morin. None
It
of
was
those.
Dr. Delgady's who was the doctor, but he also had this, and what was that? Governor's, I can't think what it is. But anyhow, they had an argument. Dr. Delgady said she had rheumatoid arthritis. The other doctor said she had rheumatic fever. And there was always a question in our minds, which one was right. Anyway, finally we had to take Peggy to Dr. Tom Hood. She had a bunion and had to have it fixed. And I said to him, what would you say when you looked at Peggy? Because her hands would be curved. This is the only one that stayed curved like such. But he said, I'd say she had rheumatoid arthritis, and that we felt then that's what she had. But she had to do, like we had the piano, she did that. She could type 120 words a minute.
Wow.
But she straightened them all out pretty good, except this ring figure. Yeah, it was, but I'll tell you, she could sure do anything and everything. I had to stop myself because she stirred, her joints were stiff, and so she'd stir like this, and no, like this, and I'd say to her, not me, and then my mom had done that to me, and I finally said, I'm going in the other room, if you need help, you tell me, you call. Otherwise, I didn't want her, I wanted her to do the way that she could do it, and she was a heck of a cook. Yeah. Even my boys are cooks. Even Pam cooks all the time. Perry cooks all the time. Bart loves to cook. Paul will cook. They cook together, he and his wife. Pete used to barbecue wonderful. He might put the potatoes on to boil if you weren't at home.
He'd fry potatoes.
Huh?
He'd fry
Oh
potatoes.
yeah, he would fry potatoes, or he'd put them on to boil. But to really, he would cook it on the barbecue, and that was, but they wouldn't go hungry.
Yeah, tell us about Bart.
Oh,
We went all
well, when
through
we lost Peggy to cancer in 1974, Bart was not quite 3. She had married Brad Roberts, anyhow, and she still worked at the Free Press at the time. And so anyhow, when we lost her, why then we worried about Bart. Brad wanted to go to Alaska, and we went to see Stuart Wilson, not Stuart, his dad Orville. And am I saying that right, or was it Stu?
I think it was.
Anyhow,
probably.
we went to
Could
the
have been
Wilsons.
Orville, yeah.